Welcome back, everyone. With so many fun holiday events this time of year, it's especially important to make sure you have a designated driver. This morning, we're hearing from an expert about the impact of drunk driving, how we can avoid it. Josh Wright is a managing partner of Hollis, Wright & Clay. Josh, thanks so much for coming in this morning.
Well, thank you for having me on. During the holiday season, we love to be able to come on and talk and hopefully spread some good information.
Exactly. We talked about, so many fun events going on, so many parties, so many family gatherings, and of course you want to have a good time.
That's right.
But just a little bit of forethought, a little bit of planning could prevent tragedy.
It's a great point and a great way to start this segment. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration put out a report in 2020 that kind of outlined how prevalent drunk driving accidents are during the holiday season, and you'd be amazed. There are roughly 11,600 people that pass away throughout the year based on drunk driving. That accounts for about a third of those that are involved in traffic homicides or traffic-related fatalities. And about 15% of the accidents that are drunk driving related happen during the holiday season between December 14th and January 3rd.
Wow.
So, for example, some of the agenda items that you see on TV, like drive sober, get pulled over, those types of things, are agenda items that are put out by the Highway Traffic Administration to try and spread awareness. And so there are just a lot of drunk driving accidents that happen during this December to January timeframe.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I do think ride sharing with Uber and Lyft and others have helped curb some of the problems, but I think people just naturally are drinking more during the holiday season. Mm-hmm. They're attending holiday parties. They're going to bars and restaurants and convenience stores who all have rules that apply to them to make sure that they're serving people the right way. But I just think that there's a higher volume of people on the roads that are having fun during the Christmas season.
Mm-hmm. More people traveling,
yep.
And that adds to the volume of people on the roads, but then more people wanting to have a good time, which is great. And if you have a ride sharing service in that area, wonderful, you can rely on that, but not everywhere does. Yeah. So it's still good to have a plan. What about Alabama's laws when it comes to drunk driving? We have some pretty tough laws.
Yeah, we really do. Over the last 10 years, our criminal laws have gotten a lot more aggressive to make sure that people that have DUIs don't have the ability to plead those down the way they used to reckless driving. So first-time offenses are much more significant. Second-time offenses and even felonies can come if you drink and drive and get caught behind the wheel doing so. And here's another thing that is important. Alabama has some really important civil rules, stuff that we do at our law firm, which is holding bars, restaurants, and convenience stores responsible for over-serving people that shouldn't be served. And there are rules associated with that. That's probably more than this show needs, but we hold people responsible that are doing it the wrong way and serving people that shouldn't be served.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's hard to tell, but again, they have that responsibility to be able to cut somebody off and hopefully prevent that tragedy. Now, what about minors who are accused of drunk driving?
That's a great question. Minors are held to a little different standard than adults are in Alabama under our civil laws. Specifically, if a minor is served alcohol, they're involved in an accident, as an example, a parent or guardian is able to bring a suit for that minor, but it is the suit of the parent or the guardian, not the suit of the minor child. So, for example, if you have a minor that's involved in an accident and catastrophically injured, the parent or the guardian has a claim to deter and punish the conduct of the bar, restaurant, convenience store that served. Whereas if an adult's involved in an accident, the adult can be punished directly through the civil courts, and certain members of that adult's family may have a cause of action, or the injured victim has a cause of action for the drunk driver.
Interesting. So a little bit different there, and how that's handled. Anything else you want to share, Josh, just about the holiday season in general, making sure we all stay safe?
Yeah, so I just think we need to have a plan. I mean, ride sharing is super prevalent in this area, and I think that's important for holiday travel. And I just think generally having a plan or a designated driver, a sober driver, is a smart thing to try and limit and curb the potential for these types of accidents. And having a plan on the front end, having some foresight in order to determine how you're going to be able to get home safely is a way to eliminate or at least curb a portion of these types of accidents that do happen.
A little bit of planning can go a long way, certainly.
100%.
Josh, we appreciate your time. Thanks for coming in.
Happy holidays and thanks for having us on.
You as well.